The most important thing to understand about the 2016-2021 government is it has a programme for government. It was the idea of the programme was much maligned at the time because manifestos are generally maligned in the island. They just talked about wish lists and that sort of thing. But the programme for government is actually well structured. It includes actions. It describes the island that we want to live in so many ways, and the legislation, the budget, and the policies that have come forward in the last 3 years and will be coming forward this year and up to the election are all pretty much in line with the programme for government, and that's the biggest achievement. So we've got 6 guiding indicators at the top level, and they're about things that really matter to people. One of those is putting money back into people's pockets. So to do that, we have to make sure that median earnings is going up, because we're not just interested in rich people, we're interested in everybody. So, but if you've got money in your pocket, you need to make it go further, and so therefore we've worried about inflation, and we've done things to counteract inflation, which a lot of these things are in my area personally as Minister for Policy and Reform. To get people earning lots of money, you've got to have jobs that pay well. So we've been encouraging people to come to the island, or local people who've had to leave the island for various reasons, to come back to the island, and to get them to have the careers and the life opportunities that we need on the island. Not only do they need to have jobs paying well, they need to have people who can afford to pay them good jobs. So we've been encouraging enterprises to be registered here to pay to employ people who pay national insurance and tax. So that's a very important part of the programme for government. So at the beginning of this administration, only half the people had trust in Tynwald as an institution, and that's a high estimate. That's averaging up slightly, rounding up slightly, and in government as well. We're having to rebuild the trust, and we haven't been completely successful as yet. But the Manx public is smart, and I reckon in the next 2 years, as evidence comes through that we are tackling the big challenges, we are making their lives better, they will say those young politicians actually, handled things pretty well through the bad period. It was easy in the last decade. It was even easier the decade before that, because everything was booming and lives are getting better because of natural economic forces. For decades, people have grumbled about the steam packet, but we've done something about it. We've put in place a sea services agreement. We've explained to people the investment that we need to make in terminals and in shipping, and we're paying for that through the user fees. Another issue we've raised is pensions, and we've got to make sure that people understand that it costs money to provide for themselves in older age, so action on public service pension reform is there, and it will be seen by people. But we've had some very pressing needs in terms of legislation, and I've taken through quite a large number of pieces of primary legislation and secondary legislation to help us with equality, to help us improve the work of social care through the safeguarding legislation, to look after people's information through data protection. And I've supported my colleagues as chair of the legislation committee to put together new legal frameworks for education, for healthcare more generally. I'm pretty happy with the achievement against the priorities and against the big themes. I had the privileged position of being responsible for the programme for government as first amongst equals. Obviously, every member of the Council of Ministers has some responsibility. Obviously, Tynwald endorsed it unanimously, but my job is coordinating delivery. So I had the privilege of being able to get a lot of my manifesto, having had the highest vote in Douglas as an MHK, and being honoured by all the Chief Minister candidates with this role. I mean, the others who were standing probably would have given me the same role as well, to actually be at the heart of the programme for government. And in 2020, it will be the end of the 7-year plan that I laid out on election in 2013, and you've hit the nail on the head. It's in 2 ways now. In 2020, I'll be showing through the action that we've achieved that I've delivered my manifesto through the programme for government and through my campaigning as a backbencher in 2013 to 2016 to get the programme for government like it was 2016 to 21. So I'm not loads of people have issues that need improving in their lives. We've still got massive challenges to address. Any politician's got to be modest about their success, because politics is not everything. There's so many other factors outside our control. But I do put my shoulders back and hold my head quite high, because I think I set out a programme for government that was realistic and that was trying to achieve the right things, and I think we've delivered on it. Well, we've got to finish public sector pensions reform. We've got to turn the local economy around more. We've got to turn around median incomes. We've got to make sure that the emerging population trends continue and are accelerated. I want to put in place solid planning regime to facilitate that. And we've basically got to make sure that people are flourishing, and people flourish when the places where they work and the places that provide opportunities for them in their time off of work are flourishing as well. So it's all about confidence. This group of politicians has had a difficult time to be politicians. We've had to face up to challenges. We have faced up to challenges through action, and I hope the public comes to respect politicians more in 2021. They turn out in huge numbers, and I do hope to be a candidate for Douglas Central. I'm looking forward to the election.